2014, the year of rage. At least for gamers, anyhow. A lot of people will raise up a glass at the end of the year and then they'll hope the next year gets better, but these problems just don't magically go away because you put a new calendar on the wall. You have to deal with these problems. You have to confront them, or they just don't get better.
A lot of people felt like Gamergate came out of nowhere, and I've just been telling them, welcome to the party. This has been here for years, and it's been getting worse, but where did it all come from? Why did it go now? What happened to fun? This is something that's going to keep sociologists employed for years to come, but I'm going to weigh in now. Let's face it, the idea of an angry video game player is nothing new. It's been used as a punchline for years in commercials aimed at gamers, but it wasn't always like that. I never saw anyone raging in an arcade game back in the day, because, well, that was real life, and if you raged at a player for winning, you were more than likely to get your nose caved in by said player. Even at the home market, I never recall seeing anyone raging at home games. Ever. Even the worst Atari game you can imagine was never met with beat it with a crowbar. Ever. You took the game out, you put a new one in, you just kept on playing, or you went outside to go play with your friends. Either way, really.
I've only seen this happening for the past 10 or 15 years or so what's really changed? This.
The internet is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good, but it also creates its own problems. I remember being in the Vax lab playing MUDs, and the worst you'd hear is, "Oh man, I died again," but no one pounded on the keyboard in anger. That really didn't start happening until, well...
Okay, my mom just canceled my brother's World of Warcraft account.
Yeah, stuff like this. Now we could go back to WIMP and Big Boys, which eventually became Break, but YouTube pretty much cemented it. Extreme cases of players being hyper-trolled were recorded and then placed online to mock said players for the crime of melting down. And then once it started gaining popularity, other people started doing it too, so it sort of became a game within the game. Can I bully someone to get a big reaction out of them? Then the fakers came out, like this kid you're watching here. Now you see, they know they would get a little bit of internet fame by pretending to freak out about video games because, lol, nerd rage.
Then came this acceptance, almost this embrace of the angry stereotype. How many angry video game reviewers are out there right now? I rest my case. Now, would this have happened without the internet? Probably not.
Anger gets hits. Everyone loves seeing a freakout video in sort of that schadenfreude kind of way. The problem is that it makes a feedback loop in which to get popular, you have to keep upping the ante. You can't just freak out anymore, you need to melt down. Well, you can't just melt down anymore, well, you need to destroy whatever hurt you. And, well, now you can't even destroy whatever hurt you, now you need to destroy everything. Videos showing extreme behavior get rewarded with ad money. It's that simple. And with each feedback loop, it makes the behavior seem normal. Okay, stop. I know. Makes it sound like I'm pushing a social agenda. I'm not. What I'm saying here is that in 1995, I never saw anyone freak out at a game that wanted to beat the console with a crowbar. Now, that would be considered tame because people are reaching for high-caliber rifles and explosives. The other side of this is the anonymity that the internet facilitates. Now, as I said before, in a physical arcade, you would get the snot beaten out of you if you tried to do the same stuff that you do online. But, as we all know, online, that's not an issue. Some gamers even acknowledge this, and they use it as an excuse to do whatever they want to while thinking they're protected by freedom of speech.
What I'm getting at is this behavior is nothing new. It's been there for years, and it's become expected behavior. If you play competitive League of Legends, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The insanity has become normal.
I also think that there's a forced competition angle that's being pushed that's also pushing up the anger levels as well. Even if you never play League of Legends, you know what's going to happen. Your gamer score, what is it? It's a measure of your worth. Games are meant to be conquered, not played. Even if you've never played PvP in your life, just log into your Xbox account and you know that you're going to be compared to every other person who plays that single-player game. And when you see an impossible score, you're just told, no, you can get that score, you just suck. You're not hardcore enough. Play harder. And it's kind of funny that people say they don't buy into this, but they're going to happily brag about how they got all the achievements in a game or how they burned through it in 3 days just to get the max score. Before the internet, this wasn't even an issue. If you didn't do well in a game, no big deal. You traded to a friend, done. Now, all of your failures are tweeted by the game with screenshots and it's put up on a global scoreboard. Pressure like this is not fun. It makes a lot of us miserable. I could also get into the long-standing mistrust in gaming. You know, all the components have been there for years, and I've been over all this before. I don't want to rehash.
Again, it's been there. It's been this whole pressure cooker with no release valve. It had a voice. It just needed a body. Yeah, I know.
If Gamergate accomplishes nothing else, it's put everything on the table and we all know where everyone stands. But problem is, it's been pure, blind rage and throwing the biggest bombs available to destroy everything, and frankly, nobody is helping. So we're going to end this year with a bang. No, that's not right. A nuclear bomb is closer, and it does nothing to stop the problem.
And here's where I write myself into a corner. Normally when I do shows like this, I like to have solutions, but in this case, I don't have any working solutions. I mean, how can I? I'm a small video producer, not many people watch my show, on the big stage I really don't have any sway. So how do I convince tens of thousands of people to calm the hell down when they've had over a decade of rage cooking behind it? I don't know. I just don't know. There's another possibility, one of many other possibilities, but this is the one that makes me feel the least comfortable, but is also the most likely. I may have made Bodhidharma angry.
Most of you didn't see the Gamergate addendum video, and that was my fault. I didn't publicize it very well. But in it, I told a story of what happened to a friend of mine when she was considering becoming a Buddhist. She saw a picture of Bodhidharma, and she asked, "Why does he look so angry?" And a monk told her, "Because you made him angry." Bodhidharma is usually depicted like this because of a story. He was meditating for years and he accidentally fell asleep, and he was so angry with himself that he cut off his own eyelids. So in a lot of artwork depicting him, he has this very intense look, for lack of a better way to put it. So what she had done is she assumed that the look meant anger. And you can rack it up to cultural differences, projection, whatever you want to call it. She did make him angry. And that's kind of what we've been doing. All of us. It's really easy to get caught in the feedback loop, especially when everything around you is negative. It's easy to overlook all the good games that came out this year, all of the good things that gamers have done this year, all of the fun that we've been having playing games.
Play. Somewhere we forgot about that. Somewhere in the forced competition that companies and players put us against to get on top of the scoreboard, and somewhere between all the arguments we have on social media in order to go against faceless accounts, somewhere where we're being told that gaming has to be this platform for social change, we forgot about the core part about playing video games. The word play.
I can't make other people do anything. I can't make other people stop being angry. I can't make other people stop trolling or baiting players. I can't make other people stop griefing players, but I can choose my response to them, and honestly, I would prefer to choose the path of fun to the path of anger. So to that end, I'm going to try to make choices. I can choose not to buy into the feedback loop of anger and rage. I can choose not to belittle other people for lack of hardware or experience. I can choose to ignore global scoreboards and instead ask, am I having fun? I can see what's going on, and I can choose not to bite on the bait.
After my friend told me her story, I was at a paintball event. It was middle of summer, it was hot, it was muggy, just a miserable day to be outside. You've had these days, I know this. And everyone was kind of getting snarly and growly at each other, mostly because of the weather, but I remember I was leaning up against my car, sitting on the ground. I had a wet towel on my head, trying to cool down. And I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm thinking, wow, the clouds look angry. Then I kind of had to laugh at myself because I realized that I was making the clouds angry. Everyone around me was making the clouds angry. And that's when I decided this is not really a good day to be playing paintball. So I packed up my gear and I went home. Sometimes the best way to break the rage is to realize that everyone around you is not going to break the chain. Sometimes you have to do it yourself. So here's to you, here's to me. May we friends forever be. And if we should ever disagree, forget you, here's to me. Don't slam do. I think that's the lesson of the day.